measure from the center of the hub. I'm looking at 28 and I'm saying a quarter. All right, so today we're going to address another problem I'm having with this Tahoe solid axle swap. When you set this up, you have to weld on the spring purchase on your frame, and you have to figure out, where to weld them on so that, things sit level. And what I did is I made it was just a little wood fixture, and I made it the length of the the length of the spring when the truck's actually sitting on. I had actually put both springs under it, did the thing across the frame, set it down, and it measured like 13.5 inches for this particular vehicle for the springs I had purchased. So I knew at ride height, sitting in the parking lot, those springs are going to be at 13.5. And then you got to add a 1/2 inch for this isolator, so you get all the vibration. Well, what was interesting is that this coil mounts about a 1/2 inch or more higher than the other side. And in the end, once I actually set it down, everything was just tacked. I set it down and everything measured even all the way around. The way you measure the height is from the center of the hub to the top of the fender. And that was set height of 28 inches. And so when I had it all tacked up, I set it on the ground. This side was 28 inches, that side was 28 inches, the rear, and basically I just matched what the rear was at 28 inches, and it was sitting just dead level. It was awesome. Well, over time, this side dropped to 27 inches, and of course what happens, the hood, if this drops down, the other side rises, so that went from 28 to 29, and you could see this thing just, sitting at a tilt. I'm trying to figure out why this guy was a 1/2 inch, and really what it is, as rigid as you may think metal is, it's not, it's fluid. And my feeling is, back in here when it's sitting on this scissor lift for weeks at a time, that one frame settled more than the other, and that's how that mismeasurement from side to side occurred. So there was two ways to go about this. One ugly way is to cut this off and then put another one on it, because this is also welded in the center here. I'd have to basically destroy this to get it off, and then just reset it so it's, the lower you get, the higher the vehicle gets. And I could do that, but I know that the issue is 1 inch, so I went in and I found out that you can get a 1 inch spacer. Just put it up in here and then it would level it out. But those spacers are indefinitely back ordered. So it's been 2 weeks, I got nothing. So I looked at my spare parts and stuff, and I found this all aluminum 1 inch thick spacer with a hole in the middle, because my shot goes through here. I'm like, well, I think I can make that work. And that's going to be installed right up in here. And then I'm going to get some flat plate and come around here and drop this 1 inch. There's also another piece in here, and I can tack that in, weld that in, drop that 1 inch. And so this would go in there. This guy goes in there, and the coil should just stay in there. Now, with this limit strap, I wouldn't really have to drop it, but I feel better to have this thing trapped in there a little bit. And it's not that much more work to go there, so I figured, do it right. And I don't know, in my lifetime, I've seen coils fall out of these things several times. Four-wheel, had a TJ's, and one was an old early Ford Bronco. So that is today's effort, trying to figure out how to get this spacer. I want it to be bolted in. It's aluminum, so I can't, if I could tack weld it, boy, that'd be quick and dirty. But it's aluminum, so I'm gonna have to drill some holes in this top plate here And that thing's already drilled, tapped for some 5/16 bolts or 3/8, I think. So I might as well just take advantage of that and get it bolted in, and then like I say, do the stuff around here, and then that'll take care, hopefully, get me closer to level, because it's noticeably leans. I mean, it's a 2-inch difference, right? But it's only a 1-inch change, I think, to rock it back. In the rear, on the driver's side, it's now riding at 27 inches on one side and 28 on passenger side. Even though it's 29 on the front, it's still 28, which is where it's supposed to be. And the only thing I can think of that is because it's leaning from the front. So as it leans, the rear coils are compressed. And also I got 26 gallons of gas here, with my really heavy butt sitting in the seat. There's a lot more weight on the driver's side constantly, but so hopefully this will get me closer back to where I was. And so time to get to work on that, and it won't be very interesting. It's just embarking, drilling, whatnot, and then bolting that on, and I'll show you as I progress through this. So we'll be right back. Well, it's been actually several hours, but a few seconds. But yeah, some stuff actually went down. You can take a look at the spring bucket. It used to come in, about right in here, and I've extended it down an inch because I'm going to put that spacer in here. And then there's another pocket back here that got extended down an inch, so that I don't want that spring jumping out of there. Then I thought, okay, I got this done. It went pretty smooth. I match drilled all the holes that were in our little spacer here that I'm going to use. And the thing is, when you're match drilling holes, I've tried it where you mark, he's got 3, so I would mark all 3, drill them out and see if it fits. You're better off if you do one at a time. I'm just saying, I just tried that. I mean, I've been doing that other way, where I mark them all, and then, there's always one that doesn't seem to work. This time, I did the first one, bolted it in place, had a little tape under here, marked it with my pencil through the hole, pulled it out, drilled that out, and then I bolted the 2 in, and then I had some tape on this side, marked it, and did it, and it actually, without any help, all 3 of them would go in. And then I just expanded the hole another, I think 1/16 of an inch, just to give a little bit of play. And this little aluminum spacer works just great. So that's going to go up in here, and then behind that, it's a shock isolator, so I don't get all that noise. Then there's this lovely little ring right here. This actually goes in first, and there's a shock tower that mounts up top of here, and these are the bolts for the shock tower. So now it's just a matter of getting this back together. The spring's not going to go in there like it came out because it was loose, so I'm going to have to undo this bad boy and figure out how not to kill myself while I'm doing it, because this is what's holding this whole thing up. So anyways, let me see what I can do, and let's see what the final results come out to when it's down the ground. See if I get the 28 inches or anything close to that would be great. The other thing I noticed, this bump stop, it was getting pretty chewed up. Whoop. Of course I dropped it. Yeah, you can see it, that sucker's, it got all chewed up, and I was looking at it, and then I looked at the spring bucket here, where the spring seat's down on the bottom, and that was actually getting dented and pulled down. So this was actually coming in contact with it. And what it has to do with the track bar. So is it cycle suspension, whichever way is, because even with the track bar, you're at ride height, your tires are centered on your body. Or that track bar, it's going to swing either this way or that way. It'll swing up based on compression. It'll go the other way, droop. And so I think what happened is under compression, it was swinging this thing to the passenger side a little bit, and when it did that, bam, it was just hitting. So I had to cut this thing off. Easier said than done. Moved it over about 3/4 of an inch. There's a big pad right down here, so I got some room, and I welded it back on. But this time, I only welded this side and the back side, because if I need to cut it off again, it's a lot easier to, for access, just cut it here. I got a lot of room back here to cut, but it's hard to cut on the sides, and here you can't even get anything in there. So yeah, instead of welding all the way around, I just did both sides, and then we're gonna try it out. And, if it doesn't break off, I'll leave it. If it seems to want to break off, I'll probably weld this side, or 3 sides, and that should be fine. So anyways, that's where we're at. The front end is done. I just put oil in the diff. So let's put it together and see if I win or I lose again. That's just the way this stuff goes. Well, we got it on the ground, got the tires on, got the 1-inch wheel spacer. I measure from the center of the hub. I'm looking at 28, and I'm saying 1/4. That's pretty good. Let me go to the other side. Right now it's like 28 3/4. 1/2 inch. I just add a 1/2 inch to that spacer and get done, because I already did all the hard work. Welding that in, it could handle another 1/2 inch. So, but I'm not worried about that. It was the whole, 1.5 inches off on the back. If I measure the back, they should come out to 27 3/4. Exactly 28. So I'm happy with that. These springs are all over the place, but plus or minus 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. It's way better, because this rear end that was at like 27. That wasn't working. So by picking this up 1 inch over here, the front, it helped level out the back. And these springs are pretty mushy, so they sit there and they do this. This thing rides like I'm in a boat in the ocean. So anyways, I can live with that. It's not going to bother me like the huge gap that I had between 27 and 29 on the other side. So we'll let it sit, see how it settles out. But either way, man, it just looks so much better now. In fact, you can tell from the back, still looks like it's leaning maybe a little bit to the driver's side, but it used to look like it leaned way over to the driver's side. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I can't really do anything about the rear springs because all the gas is on the driver's side. So if I have a 1/2 tank or less, I might come up 1/4, 1/2 inch, and then it'll be the same as the other side. So it depends how I load it too. But in the end, I'm pretty happy, and I think that this is going to do it as far as suspension and the setup there. I just need some time to go wheel it now. And there's yet another problem with this it just happened, and for some reason the transfer case is upset. But we'll figure this one out. So as soon as I know, I'll give you an update. I'm out.